After the death of Emperor Palpatine, the defeated Imperial forces pulled back to the planet Bastion and called a truce with the New Republic. For decades the peace flourished, until an invasion of extragalactic aliens called the Yuzon Vong killed trillions and devastated worlds. A galactic alliance of remaining systems, Jedi, and the Imperial Remnant finally defeated the invaders. Then, a new breed of Sith, numbering more than 2 and led by Darth Krayt, emerged to join the newly reforged Empire. Together they manufactured an incident that sundered the Galactic Alliance and began a brutal war. Now, the Empire is poised to reign control of the galaxy, yet the intentions of its Sith allies remain shrouded in deception. So here we're officially introduced to Moff Nina, and here it's explained that the Sith made a deal with the Empire through her, and that she is the lover of Grand Admiral Veed, and she is a big part in why the Sith are able to overthrow Emperor Fel. And a lot of this information is coming from Emperor Fel himself, and the way it is presented is just pure exposition, and he's not really talking in a way that feels natural. It could have been done a little bit better, I think. And we have Grand Admiral Veed saying that they should have let all the Jedi go to the Academy on Ossus before they launched their attack. And we have the Sith saying if they had gathered together it would have been harder to kill them, so it's better to have them scattered without a leader and without a base. The reasoning does make sense, and doing this is to have it imitate the post-Revenge of the Sith era with the Jedi Purge and Vader hunting those remaining Jedi, which is covered in the Purge comics, which I will be covering eventually, especially because those comics and Star Wars Legacy are written by the same person. And just to give a little bit more information on the Sith, Darth Maladi, she's the head of the Sith Intelligence Organization and an expert in assassination and torture. And Moff Nina is the head of the Imperial Intelligence. She was expecting the Empire and the Sith to convince the Jedi to join them, but those plans changed without her knowledge. And she's the one who actually warns Fel about the plans to overthrow him, which leads to his escape. And I have learned some more about Darth Krayt and what's really going on with him. I wasn't too sure about why he was dying, but it's because he's so old. I mean, technically that's the reason. He's been alive since the Clone Wars, and he's used some sort of Vong technology or something to extend his life, but because he's been alive for so long, it's starting to infect him and kill him. And I suppose since he's been alive for so long, it kind of does make sense that he's able to take out these 4 Imperial Knights by himself. And when it comes to these character designs, like these Imperial uniforms, I do like them. I think they look nice, especially the Imperial Knights with their red armor and their white sabers. It just looks really good together. I don't know much about the lightsaber cannon and the kyber crystal stuff in the expanded universe, if it has any special meaning like it does in Disney. But if I had to guess why their sabers were white, I'd say it's kind of like the Sith sabers where they're all one color. They're all one order. They're not like the Jedi, where I think in the expanded universe, the different colored sabers do mean something different because it started with Mace Windu having a purple saber. That's where all this lore for the sabers came from. And I wasn't so sure about Darth Krayt being the Emperor. It felt a little forced. But since they have these Imperials saying, well, some of them are loyal to Emperor Fel and some of them are loyal to the throne and the Empire in general, regardless of who's leading it, it works as the basis for this civil war between Imperial factions. And the ones who are rebelling against this established Sith Empire are also Imperials. I like that change from the original trilogy, which this is trying to emulate in certain aspects. It feels very similar to some stuff that's come before it, but it also feels pretty unique and almost like a blend of the Old Republic and the original trilogy and the prequels. And since Emperor Fel is trained in the ways of the Force, he knows how to use a saber, I'm expecting to see a duel between him and Darth Krayt. And we have Darth Maladi saying, under Darth Krayt, they're a different breed of Sith. They're not like Darth Sidious. And Nina saying, so you believe, Lady Maladi, and that will be the knife that kills you. I could see Krayt being too selfish to really understand that his own personal goals and decisions could lead to the other Sith feeling betrayed or just abandoning him, and that would be just like Darth Sidious. Since its origin, Stormtroopers signify the rigid order and immeasurable power of the Empire. For generations, these soldiers have served the will of the Emperor, placing duty above all else. Yet now these loyal troopers find their allegiance torn between Empire and Emperor. For 7 years, Darth Krayt and the Sith have ruled the Empire. However, their hold on the galaxy remains incomplete. Opposed by the displaced Emperor Roan Fel, and his ever-growing army of devoted followers. Each day new lines are being drawn in this struggle that pits trooper against trooper, forcing veteran and rookie alike to decide who or what it is that they are willing to die for. This story follows a rookie who is being called Noob, and it's actually partially narrated by him. This is a much better way to get exposition through to the reader than just having a character recite someone's entire backstory to them. And we're introduced to a new Sith who looks pretty interesting, Lord Malaval. And the plot of this is basically a division of troopers has gone to defect to Rowan Fel, and we're following the troopers who are sent to stop them. The way Lieutenant Cassell led from the front, I could see why lieutenants had the highest mortality rates. Sergeant Harkis was right beside him, giving the lieutenant as much cover as he could. Hondo Karp picked his shots calmly and carefully. Incoming fire barely merited his attention. Jessica Stang cut swaths with a big gun. It did a lot of damage, but every 4 shots it needed a new power pack. Vax Pator kept low and blazed away. He moved quick and sharp, making himself a difficult target. And I froze. Battle sims don't really prepare you for the noise and confusion of the real thing, and I wasn't sure if I could tell our troopers from those of the 908th. Lord Malavel, at the very apex of the attack, didn't seem to care. Maybe so far as he was concerned, there wasn't any difference between us and them. I've heard of what the Sith or Jedi could do. This was the first time I'd ever seen it myself. I don't know what frightened me more, the many different ways he found to kill or the joy they gave him. And we see the Sith with this whip, which I think he can channel lightning through, or maybe it's just electrified. The lieutenant is hoping to get the other troopers who deserted to surrender, especially because his brother is a part of that group, but the Sith Lord wants them all dead. And he brings the lieutenant his brother to execute to prove his loyalty. And by this point, only 3 members of this squad, including the lieutenant and the sergeant, are still alive. And as they try to stop the Sith from killing the lieutenant, the noob ends up shooting the Sith. Later, the higher-ups were told that Malaval was killed in battle, and that Karp was vaporized in the same blast that took out Gistang. I don't know if they believed it, but that's how the report read. I haven't seen Hondo Karp since. I wouldn't be surprised if Hondo Karp does show up again later on, maybe with Rowan Fel or just out there on the fringe somewhere. I did enjoy these. They weren't really continuing the main story, so I almost didn't make a video on them, but I figured I might as well just cover everything. But there was a lot of stuff in this that I didn't really talk about or go over, so if you do end up reading them, there's still plenty in these 2 issues for you to experience for the first time. And since I'm a big fan of the Imperials, I do enjoy following the Moffs, following the troopers, getting to see more of the Empire in this time period, which I am new to. And I'm excited to see where the story goes, so hopefully you guys stick around for that. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.